Greetings, vloggers, bloggers, and followers. Today I want to talk about, a mission behind the blog, behind the vlog, and behind everything, that we set forth in the ways. I have been on a live with another blogger lately, and it just makes me come to mind, about all the negative connotations we hear out there in the autism community. A lot of times people, their first source they go to when they find out if they have a diagnosis or, or just, learning about themselves is the wonderful world of Facebook. And I love Facebook. It's a great social tool. I wouldn't be done do many things without it. I wouldn't learn about many of the other autism bloggers out there, and there are several. Um, but keep in mind, the groups, and I hate to say it, the groups are always, the groups can be a good source of information if used in an intended way. If they're not, there's a lot of haters out there, and it's sad to say, you think of something of a neurological condition like autism, and it's just sad, it's sad that people, do things, to again, I've always said about taking advantage of autistic people, but this is, putting them out there on the spot and calling them for doing things that aren't, and bashing them for doing things that, just aren't right. And, that they feel are not right. And that, don't feel that they should be doing. Well, number one, it's their right to do, it's the person who puts it out there, and the person who's asking for help is only asking because usually they're only in a true spirit of, wanting to find information and finding, help for themselves, or their child, or their loved one, or, or their person they're taking care of. They only ask that question because they need help. They need sources. Sometimes we look at the autistic only view, and sometimes that can be a little straight too, and that can be a little, it's not good. I can tell you personally that I'm genuine, and I've only been a little bit diagnosed with autism at 3. I thought I had it, but then well, it didn't get my official, my new diagnosis as I call it, until I was 14. But you know, you have a lot of I have a lot of experience, and sometimes I share it, and sometimes probably it's you share things because you feel you have something to bring to the table, but you don't ever bring up that somebody else did something in a wrong way, or or a way that wasn't helpful, or if you do, you're very nice about it, and you give some tips to help. um it's just it's a very dog eat dog world out there with the autism. Some of the groups, and some of them are not even moderated, which I found was very scary, because that's one of the reasons I don't do a group. I thought about doing a group on Facebook under my page, but I just think personally it's just too much to moderate. And I personally, with working a part-time job and still having day program responsibilities, granted we do have COVID and the kids isolate us a lot, but I don't feel that I could dedicate time to being a mod or screening mods to watch over the group. Although I would love to do a group at some point, maybe when I retire, but not now. Um, because there becomes a lot of hate speech, and people are very hurtful, and that's the last thing that anybody, uh, you know, that is seeking advice for that person on the autism spectrum is they don't need words of hate and words of hurt. Um, those feelings are horrible, and you know it's just you don't want to feel words of hurt. You're there because you don't want to you don't want to draw attention to something that may not look good on yourself, or may not, be, you know, we're already hurting. We're already hurting because of our condition. And I'm not glorifying our condition, but I'm saying, we go through a lot on a daily basis because of autism, and we don't need it glorified in a group that sometimes even might even be a closed group. It may be a public group, which means anybody can just Google it or get on Facebook on the search engine and find it. So, it's just, but I'm all for the moms and the moms and the family members that do blog about their children. And yes, they're growing too, and one day they will be adults. And it's just, one day they will be adults, and they'll be adults just like me and everybody else that I know that has autism. And we grew up to be some very fine people, if you might mind me saying. You know, we learn skills as we grow too. I'm in my second apartment and I love it. But what you've asked me maybe 20 year, 15 or 20 years if I'd be at this spot, probably not. But I love getting out and I love telling my story, and I love sharing, what skills and what tools and what knacks of the trade I can share with you all. Um, I feel that it's the least contribution I can do after experiencing my many years as diagnosed and many years before of sharing a host of diagnoses before I got my diagnosis of 14. But I'm so glad for the new era of medicine and of research that is going into finding diagnosis in younger children now. And that's what's bringing. I know it's bringing the numbers down, especially in the states, of bringing down the numbers of the marginality of having how many children are diagnosed with autism. But we're here for each other. We should be at least here for each other. Um, that advice. When we go out and we search advice, we don't need to be treated with hurt. That's all. And there's so much. So just validate your feelings. Make sure what you put out there. You make sure that it's you can anonymously put it out there so that if it's embarrassing that nobody I can come back at you on it. And make sure that just do your research. That's all I can say. But do your research on what's a valid blog, what's a valid group, what's a valid page. Just that's all I want to say is that's the only takeaway I want you to have today from this vlog is to do your research when you look up at pages or you look up at groups. Do your research on things. Do your research on websites. Just do your research. That's all I can say. So with that, I want to thank you. Have a good week. As always, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at Dustin'sDynastyUSA.com. Thank you.